forget about tall buildings and steel towers reaching for the clouds. While humans focus on building upward, nature has its own brilliant architects working quietly all around us. These small but incredibly skilled creatures create masterpieces right under our noses. Their work is so complex and precise that even the world's best engineers struggle to match it. They don't use machines, blueprints, or tools, only instinct, patience, and simple materials like grass, twigs, or feathers. What they build defies gravity and logic itself. Get ready to explore their hidden world of design and construction that will leave you amazed. Let's start with one of nature's finest builders, the baya weaver. During South Asia's rainy monsoon season, male baya weavers turn into tireless one-bird construction crews. Each male chooses a high, thorny branch that hangs over water. The location is clever because it keeps their nests safe from predators like snakes and rats that can't climb easily or swim across. Once the spot is picked, the hard work begins. Using strips of grass or palm fibers, each around 20 to 60 centimeters long, the weaver carefully threads and knots them together. He weaves more than 3,000 loops to create a hanging structure shaped like a sock. The nest starts small and slowly grows into what's known as the helmet stage after about 8 days of constant work. But building is only part of the process. The next step is what you could call marketing. The male sings loudly and flaps his wings to attract the attention of females flying nearby. His display says, "Look at my craftsmanship." If a female comes to inspect the nest and likes what she sees, the male will then complete the long entrance tunnel, the final touch that makes the nest ready for eggs. However, if the female isn't impressed, she simply flies away, and the male tears his creation down and starts again from scratch. This can happen up to 20 times in a single breeding season. Baya weavers often build in colonies of 20 to 60 nests, creating a breathtaking view of hanging homes swaying in the wind. Interestingly, they always angle their nests away from the southwest monsoon winds to prevent them from being torn apart during storms. Long ago, people believed these clever birds used glowing fireflies to light up their nests at night. But researchers like Suel Quad and T. Anthony Davis discovered the truth: no fireflies, just smart design. The males sometimes add clay or dung to strengthen the nest walls and make them sturdier. Studies also show that nests built higher up on thinner branches tend to be safer and more successful, as predators find them harder to reach. Nature's engineering, once again, proves both practical and beautiful. Now, let's move to another incredible bird architect, the Montezuma oropendola. Just when you think birds can't get any more artistic, this Central American species takes nest building to a new level of drama and elegance. Imagine a hanging opera house woven from vines, swaying high among tropical trees. That's what an oropendola nest looks like. Each female oropendola builds her own nest from scratch. She carefully collects vines, plant fibers, and other natural threads, then weaves them into a long, hanging pouch that dangles from the tips of thin branches. These spots are so high and delicate that predators, like monkeys or snakes, avoid them. The nests can vary in length, some are only 2 feet long, while others stretch up to 6 feet, hanging like elegant, wind-proof hammocks. The shape isn't just for beauty. It protects the eggs and chicks from strong winds, rain, and hungry invaders climbing the trees. Inside the deep, rounded chamber at the bottom, her eggs stay safe and warm, no matter the weather. In some colonies, you might see 30 nests hanging together like ornaments on a giant green chandelier. In others, the number can reach as many as 170. But even in these crowded neighborhoods, each female works alone. She lays 2 dark, speckled eggs, though usually only one chick survives. It's a harsh truth of nature: survival often comes with sacrifice. An old local legend adds another fascinating layer to the story. People once believed that oropendolas purposely built their nests near hornet nests for protection. Surprisingly, this myth has a lot of truth to it. Scientists have observed that hornets drive away cowbirds, parasites that try to lay eggs in other birds' nests, while the presence of oropendolas scares off certain bees that might threaten the hornets. This creates a kind of mutual protection pact between the two species, an alliance that benefits both sides. Nature doesn't just compete, it also cooperates in remarkable ways. While the females handle all the building, the males still play a showy part in the colony. They perform elaborate displays to attract mates, often hanging upside down from branches, showing off their bright yellow tails, and releasing a bubbling, musical call that rings at about 500 Hz. Their synchronized calls echo across the forest, creating a rhythmic, almost mechanical sound that helps maintain social bonds within the colony. It's like living in a natural concert hall where beauty and function blend perfectly. Both the Baya weaver and the Montezuma oripendula reveal something astonishing about life on Earth, that intelligence doesn't always come with a large brain or human tools. These birds use instinct, creativity, and observation to build structures that survive storms, protect their young, and attract partners. Their designs balance art and purpose in ways that modern architects often try to imitate. The hanging nests sway with the wind but never break, using tension and weight distribution that even human engineers study for inspiration. If we look closely at these small builders, we see that every blade of grass and every fiber they weave has a role. Nothing is random. Every detail is tested by generations of survival. When we compare our own towering skyscrapers and bridges to these nests, we realize that nature's architecture has always been far ahead of us, quieter, simpler, yet far more efficient. In a world where humans often look for innovation in technology, these birds remind us that true genius can exist in simplicity. A few strands of grass and a beak are all they need to design homes that endure storms, deter predators, and nurture life. These tiny engineers don't use concrete or steel, yet their structures stand as some of the most impressive natural designs on the planet. So next time you walk under a tree and spot what looks like a hanging pouch or a tangled ball of grass, take a closer look. You might just be witnessing one of nature's masterpieces, a home crafted with patience, precision, and purpose by one of the world's smallest yet most talented architects. Meredith Miles, a biologist who studied these incredible bird behaviors, described their courtship displays as timed choreography. Every movement, every note in the song, every flap of the wings happens in perfect rhythm, all designed to win over a mate beneath the nests the females have built. Now, let's travel to the vast deserts of southern Africa, where another remarkable builder lives, the sociable weaver. Deep in the Kalahari, these small birds act like master architects, using sticks and dry grass instead of blueprints and bricks. But unlike most birds that build nests for themselves or their families, sociable weavers build for entire communities and future generations. Their nests are not simple homes, they are enormous structures that can stretch more than 10 feet wide and sometimes weigh nearly a ton. Imagine an entire apartment complex made of straw, built by tiny birds. Inside, a single nest may hold anywhere from 10 to 500 birds, divided into 5 to 100 individual chambers. Each room has its own tunnel-like entrance, and the whole structure looks like a giant, shaggy haystack balanced on a single tree or even on a telephone pole. But this massive creation is alive, full of movement, warmth, and sound. The design of the nest is nothing short of genius. The tunnels leading into each chamber can be about 10 inches long. These narrow openings are carefully shaped to control temperature. During the blazing heat of the Kalahari day, the inner chambers stay cool and shaded, while at night, when temperatures can drop close to freezing, the nest remains warm and comfortable. Scientists who studied these nests found that the temperature inside usually stays steady between 21 and 24 degrees Celsius, even when it's near zero outside. This natural insulation works so well that researchers have called sociable weaver nests living climate control systems. And all of it is built from nothing more than dry grass, twigs, and teamwork. What makes these nests even more amazing is how long they last. Some have survived for more than 100 years, passed down through generations of birds. Each new group repairs and expands the structure, keeping it strong and functional. These nests are not just homes, they're legacies. Over time, they've become ecosystems of their own, providing shelter for many other species too. Small birds like finches and pygmy falcons live among the weavers, while vultures perch on top and tree skinks crawl through the tunnels. Even snakes sometimes slither inside, hunting for eggs, though many are stopped by sharp twigs and cleverly designed barriers that make it difficult for predators to get through. To the people of the Kalahari, these giant nests have always seemed almost magical. Local stories say they glow with life, like sacred temples in the desert. In a way, that's true. They represent cooperation, endurance, and survival, proof of what creatures can achieve when they work together. But if you think building with sticks and teamwork is impressive, wait until you meet a bird that constructs its home using nothing but its own spit, the cave swiftlet. Cave swiftlets are small, fast-flying birds that live in the dark caves of Southeast Asia and nearby islands. Unlike most birds, they don't have access to twigs, leaves, or grass. Their environment is nothing but cold, vertical rock walls. Yet they still manage to build perfectly secure nests. How? With their saliva. The swiftlet's saliva has a thick, glue-like texture. When exposed to air, it hardens quickly and becomes strong enough to hold a nest in place, even upside down on a cave ceiling. A pair of swiftlets will choose a safe spot high above the ground, usually where no predator can reach. Then, for about 35 days, they build their small, cup-shaped nest, layering thin strands of dried saliva one after another. Each nest is only around 8 centimeters wide and weighs about 6 grams, but it can support 2 adult birds and their eggs. It's a perfect example of natural efficiency and strength. If you ever walk into one of these caves, like the famous Gamantong caves in Borneo, you'd see thousands of tiny white nests clinging to the dark stone walls, looking like delicate petals or seashells. The sight is both eerie and beautiful. These nests are not just marvels of biology, they've also become part of human history and culture. Since the 14th century, people have risked their lives climbing bamboo scaffolding to harvest them for a delicacy known as bird's nest soup. This dish, made by soaking and dissolving the nests in water, has been treasured in Chinese culture for centuries. It was once believed to have powerful effects, restoring youth, increasing vitality, and even granting strength and longevity. Because of these beliefs, bird's nest soup became one of the most expensive foods in the world. A single kilogram of dried swiftlet nests can sell for thousands of dollars. There's even a legend surrounding the color of the nests. Some turn red instead of white, and for a long time, people thought the red ones were infused with the bird's blood or had stronger medicinal powers. But science later revealed the truth: the red color doesn't come from magic or blood, but from chemical reactions. When droppings and minerals in the cave mix with the swiftlet's saliva over time, the acidic compounds stain the nests red. Still, the mystery and beauty of the cave swiftlet remain. Its simple yet effective design shows that nature's solutions are often more resourceful than anything humans could create. In the dark, silent world of caves where most life cannot survive, these birds have found a way to thrive using only what their bodies can produce. From the vast communal towers of the sociable weavers to the delicate saliva cups of the cave swiftlets, nature proves again that architecture isn't limited to humans. Each of these species builds with purpose: to protect, to endure, to continue life. Whether in the blazing heat of the desert or the damp darkness of a cave, these creatures design homes perfectly adapted to their environments. Their materials may be humble, but their creativity and precision rival the greatest structures humans have ever built. The world is full of these quiet architects, crafting their masterpieces unnoticed. Each nest tells a story, not just of survival, but of intelligence, collaboration, and the endless creativity of life itself. There's a reason these nests became so valuable. The saliva used by the cave swiftlet contains rare glycoproteins and minerals that form a natural bioadhesive, a kind of organic glue unlike anything humans have ever made. Scientists are still studying it to understand its structure and potential uses in medicine and material science. It's a reminder that nature often masters designs and formulas that modern technology is only beginning to grasp. Unfortunately, that same uniqueness almost led to the bird's destruction. For centuries, humans harvested these nests in huge numbers for the luxury market, especially in places like the Andaman Islands. Overharvesting pushed swiftlet populations dangerously low. But when governments and conservation groups stepped in to protect their caves, everything changed. Between 2000 and 2008, protected caves saw swift let numbers rise by nearly 40%. It proved a simple truth: when humans stop taking and start respecting, nature recovers. Now, from high cave ceilings, we move down to the forest floor to meet another quiet but skilled builder, the ovenbird. The ovenbird is not like most birds that build in trees or cliffs. Instead, it constructs its nest directly on the ground, blending perfectly into the forest floor. In the thick woods of North America, the female ovenbird begins by clearing a small patch among the fallen leaves. She gathers fine grass, twigs, animal hair, and thin pieces of bark to weave a small, dome-shaped home that looks just like a miniature clay oven, which is exactly how the bird got its name. It takes her about 5 days to complete the nest, which stands around 13 centimeters tall and about 23 centimeters wide. Inside, she shapes a cozy cup just large enough for her and her eggs. One of the most ingenious parts of her design is the hidden entrance, a small, low doorway on the side that usually faces downhill. This simple detail makes it difficult for predators like snakes or chipmunks to spot the nest from above. The nest's dome and camouflage help it blend perfectly with the forest floor, almost invisible unless you're looking directly at it. But even if danger does approach, the mother ovenbird doesn't panic. Instead, she performs one of nature's smartest tricks. She pretends to be injured, fluttering weakly away from the nest as if she's hurt, drawing predators after her and away from her eggs. Once the threat is gone, she quietly circles back and returns to her hidden home. A typical ovenbird lays between 3 and 6 eggs, most often 4 or 5. She incubates them for about 11 to 14 days, and after hatching, the chicks grow quickly. They leave the nest in just over a week but stay close to their mother for nearly a month as they learn how to survive on their own. Each ovenbird nest is a tiny masterpiece. No two are ever quite the same. The shape, tilt, and materials always differ slightly depending on the location and the bird's instincts. This individuality caught the attention of poets and writers. Robert Frost even wrote about the ovenbird's song and its remarkable craftsmanship back in 1916. In Argentina, some villagers believe that destroying an ovenbird's nest will bring drought, so they treat the bird's home as a symbol of good fortune and sometimes even build their houses nearby for luck. From the quiet forest floor, we rise again into the open air, where mud becomes the main building material and teamwork rules the skies. Enter the cliff swallow, one of the most impressive communal architects in the bird world. These small, energetic birds are rarely seen alone. Instead, they build massive colonies that can contain hundreds or even thousands of nests all packed together. Their method is as fascinating as their result. Each swallow carries small pellets of mud in its beak, sometimes up to 1,200 in total for a single nest, gathered from nearby riverbanks, puddles, or stream beds. With these, they shape an inverted gourd-like structure, a hanging pot of clay with a long, narrow entrance tunnel. Each finished nest measures about 8 inches wide and 4 inches tall, with thick walls that protect the inside from both heat and predators. The design helps maintain a comfortable temperature no matter how hot it gets outside. What's most amazing is how organized these birds are when they work together. Under cliffs, bridges, and overpasses, you'll often find entire swallow cities. A single colony can have hundreds or even up to 6,000 nests all attached side by side, forming long, intricate rows. Each couple, male and female, works together as a team to gather mud, shape their nest, and line the inside with feathers and grass. They then lay 3 to 4 eggs, though sometimes as few as 1 or as many as 6. Both parents share every task equally, building, incubating the eggs, and feeding the chicks. After about 3 weeks, the young swallows are ready to fly, but they often stay nearby, chirping and learning from the colony before heading out on their own. But not every swallow follows the rules. Within these crowded bird cities, there are a few who take shortcuts. Some swallows, instead of collecting mud and building from scratch, sneak into their neighbors' nests and steal materials, or sometimes even the entire structure. Others lay their eggs in someone else's nest, hoping the unsuspecting parents will raise their young for them. It's a bold move, but it happens often enough that researchers call it nest parasitism. Still, most swallows remain loyal workers, rebuilding and repairing whenever damage occurs. Despite the occasional thief, the cliff swallows' colonies are one of nature's greatest examples of cooperation and community living. Together, they form sprawling neighborhoods that last for generations, showing how shared effort can create something truly extraordinary. From the caves of Southeast Asia to the forests of North America and the cliffs of the Americas, these birds remind us that architecture isn't limited to blueprints and steel. Every nest, whether made of mud, saliva, or grass, carries intelligence, patience, and purpose. It's nature's quiet way of proving that design and art exist everywhere, even in the smallest creatures working tirelessly all around us. Female cliff swallows aren't always as innocent as they seem. Some have been caught sneaking their eggs into the nests of their neighbors, a sneaky trick known as brood parasitism. It's a clever but risky move, allowing them to have extra offspring raised by someone else while they focus on other nests or save their energy. For a long time, people thought cliff swallow nests were fragile blobs of mud that would simply wash away in the rain. But they couldn't have been more wrong. These structures are carefully engineered, strong, and beautifully balanced. Each nest's shape and weight distribution are so precise that they can withstand storms, heat, and even vibrations from nearby movement. Studies have shown that the nest's center of gravity is placed perfectly to prevent collapse, a design so efficient it's been compared to natural 3D printing. Every curve and layer is deliberate, tested, and refined through generations of instinct and adaptation. Now, let's leave the cliffs and fly into the swampy homes of another remarkable bird, the wood stork, a giant that turns sticks into sky-high palaces. Standing over 3 feet tall, the wood stork is one of the largest wading birds in the Americas. Its nest is no small project either, a wide, flat platform that can stretch up to 5 feet across, built high in trees above swampy water. Both parents work together in a frenzy of activity, collecting sticks, reeds, and leaves. In just 2 or 3 days, they finish their sturdy home. To strengthen it, they line the inside with fresh green leaves and seal it all with a layer of guano, which hardens like cement. Wood storks don't nest alone. They gather in large colonies called rookeries, where dozens of pairs build their nests close together, safe above 3 to 5 feet of swamp water, deep enough to keep out raccoons and other land predators. Each pair lays between 2 and 5 eggs, and after about 30 days of incubation, the chicks hatch. At first, they weigh only around 57 grams, tiny and fragile, but under the constant care of both parents, they grow rapidly. In 50 to 60 days, they become strong enough to fly. In folklore, the wood stork was often mixed up with the white stork, the bird from old European tales that supposedly delivered babies. In truth, the wood stork delivers something very different: fish. It hunts in shallow water, keeping its long bill slightly open. The moment it touches a fish, it snaps its beak shut faster than a blink, one of the quickest reflexes in the bird world. Next, we meet one of nature's tiniest engineers, the pendulum tit. Despite being just a few inches long, this little bird builds a nest so intricate and well-designed that scientists often compare it to a trapdoor mansion swaying gently from a branch. The male pendulum tit begins by collecting soft materials, fine plant fibers, wool, and even spider silk. Using only his beak and claws, he weaves them together into a hanging, pear-shaped pouch. But what truly amazes scientists is the nest's clever architecture. It has a decoy entrance, a fake doorway that leads nowhere, meant to confuse predators. The real entrance hides behind a small flap of spider silk, which the bird can seal shut when inside. This design combines deception, safety, and comfort all in one tiny home. Some species of pendulum tits take it a step further and build 2 separate chambers, one false and one real, for extra protection. The completed nest stands about 20 centimeters tall and can hold up to 9 eggs. Interestingly, researchers have found that the larger and thicker the nest, the warmer it stays, which means the eggs inside have a better chance of surviving. Female pendulum tits often choose mates based on the quality of the nest. The better the craftsmanship, the more likely she is to stay. The entire construction process takes about a week, and once it's used, it's never reused again. However, many pendulum tits return to the same tree or area year after year to build a new one. Humans have long admired these extraordinary nests for their beauty and durability. In the past, people even used old pendulum tit nests as slippers and pouches because they were so soft and sturdy. Now we move from delicate fiber homes to a much grander, muddier masterpiece, the nest of the flamingo. When it comes to building with mud, no bird does it better. Flamingos are famous for their elegance and bright pink color, but their nesting skills are just as impressive. Instead of twigs or grass, flamingos use only wet mud, shaping it with their beaks and feet to form tall, cone-shaped mounds. These mud towers stand about 45 centimeters high and just as wide at the base, with a shallow crater at the top where the female lays a single large egg. There's a brilliant reason behind this design. The height of the mound keeps the egg safe and dry during sudden floods. At the same time, the damp mud acts like natural air conditioning. As water evaporates from the surface, it cools the egg and keeps it from overheating under the harsh sun. The structure may look simple, but it's a perfect combination of engineering and instinct. Flamingos are social birds that live and nest in large colonies called flamboyances, a fitting name for such colorful creatures. Their nests are usually less than a meter apart, forming dense grids of mud towers that stretch across entire lake shores. When the chicks hatch, they stay in the nest for about a week before joining what's known as a creche, a kind of flamingo daycare group watched over by a few adult birds. Meanwhile, both parents take turns feeding the chick with a rich, milk-like substance they produce in their crops, full of fats and proteins to help it grow strong. There's an old myth that flamingos use twigs, stones, or even steel to build their nests, but that's completely false. Every part of the flamingo's home is made purely of mud, shaped by instinct, patience, and teamwork. From the cliffs of the swallows to the swamps of the storks, from the hanging pouches of the pendulum tit to the mud towers of the flamingos, one thing becomes clear: birds are far more than creatures of flight. They are master builders, engineers, and artists. Each species adapts perfectly to its environment, creating homes that protect their young, withstand weather, and sometimes even trick predators. But if you think these birds are impressive, wait until you meet one that's not only a builder but also a demolition expert, the tireless woodpecker. The woodpecker isn't just a bird, it's a skilled excavator, nature's own carpenter with precision and purpose. Using its strong beak like a power drill and a shock-absorbing skull that can take thousands of hits a day, it carves deep into tree trunks to create the perfect nesting chamber. Each hole begins as a small, round entrance just a few centimeters wide, leading to a hollow space that can reach up to 24 centimeters deep. Woodpeckers carefully choose trees with soft, decayed heartwood on the inside but a hard, sturdy outer layer of bark. This makes the carving easier but still keeps the structure solid and safe. Depending on the species, creating a single nesting hole can take anywhere from 2 weeks to as long as 3 years. The red-cockaded woodpecker, for example, spends several seasons working on its masterpiece, carving into living pine trees, not dead ones. Inside these cozy chambers, the bird lays between 3 and 6 smooth white eggs. Unlike many birds that use twigs, leaves, or grass, woodpeckers use only what's left behind from their own hard work, tiny wood chips that form a soft, natural cushion. And despite the common myth, woodpeckers don't harm trees, they actually help forests thrive. By creating holes, they make homes for hundreds of other creatures once they move out. Owls, bats, squirrels, insects, and even other birds reuse abandoned woodpecker nests. Scientists call this connected housing network the nest web, and woodpeckers are at the center of it, the true engineers of forest architecture. Their anatomy has even inspired human technology. Engineers have studied woodpeckers' skull structures to design better shock-absorbing materials used in camera stabilizers and helmet padding. In every way, these birds prove how nature often builds the smartest designs. Now, we move from the deep woods to the sunny savannas of Africa to meet another builder, one that works with grass instead of wood. The southern masked weaver is a small bird with a big talent and even bigger ambitions. During the breeding season, which runs from September through January, the male becomes a tireless architect. His goal is simple but challenging: to build the most beautiful, sturdy nest he can to win over a female. A single male can weave as many as 25 nests in one season, each one taking about 5 days to complete. It all begins with a single act of creativity, tying one blade of grass securely to a tree branch. From that first knot, the bird weaves more and more strands, shaping a hanging, oval-shaped dome that's about 20 to 25 centimeters wide. The materials come from whatever the bird can find, long grasses, reeds, or strips of palm leaves, but the craftsmanship is always stunning. The entrance is placed at the bottom of the nest, sometimes extended into a short tunnel to keep out snakes, monkeys, and other predators. Despite swinging in the wind, these nests are incredibly durable, resistant to both rain and strong gusts. They're waterproof, windproof, and flexible, perfect examples of instinctive engineering. Once the male finishes a nest, the real test begins. He flutters his wings, sings loudly, and shows off his new creation to passing females. If one is impressed, she moves in and adds her own touch, lining the inside with soft grass, feathers, and other cozy materials. But if she isn't satisfied, the male doesn't sulk, he tears the entire nest down and starts from scratch. It's a harsh but effective selection process, only the best builders get a mate. Interestingly, females can identify imposter eggs laid by sneaky parasitic birds, like the Diedrich cuckoo, thanks to the unique color and pattern of their own eggs. Studies from the University of Edinburgh have also shown that male weavers improve their construction skills over time. As they build more nests, they learn to weave tighter, more efficient patterns, wasting fewer strands and making neater designs. Each new nest is a sign of growth and skill, proof that practice makes perfect, even in the bird world. If the weaver bird's nests are examples of artistic precision, then the next builder, the hammerkop, is all about scale and strength. This African bird doesn't just build a nest, it constructs a fortress. Using up to 8,000 twigs, sticks, and bits of grass, plus mud and even pieces of plastic or cloth, the hammerkop creates one of the largest and most impressive nests on Earth. These enormous dome-shaped structures can reach up to 2 meters wide and just as tall, weighing between 25 and 50 kilograms. The building process starts with a wide, flat base of sticks. From there, the pair builds up sturdy walls and then adds a thick roof for protection. Finally, they seal it with a narrow entrance tunnel about 13 centimeters wide that leads to a hidden inner chamber lined with mud and measuring around 50 centimeters across. It takes about 6 weeks of non-stop work to finish one of these nests, with the birds making up to 60 trips every hour to gather materials. The end result is so solid that even an adult human could sit on it without breaking it. But these nests aren't just homes for hammerkops, they're miniature ecosystems. Once abandoned, they become shelters for owls, kestrels, snakes, squirrels, and even ducks. Because so many species depend on them, scientists call the hammerkop an ecosystem engineer. In parts of East Africa, people hold deep respect for these birds. Many local traditions say it brings bad luck to disturb or destroy a hammerkop's nest. Some even believe that harming one could bring misfortune to an entire household. Whether or not that's true, it's clear that these birds earn their reputation as builders worthy of awe. From the woodpecker's precision-carved chambers to the weaver's hanging art and the hammerkop's massive fortresses, birds continue to prove that nature is full of architects. Each one builds in its own style, some focus on skill, others on size or safety. But all share the same goal, creating a home strong enough to protect their family and smart enough to stand the test of time. Some myths say that disturbing a hammerkop's nest can bring lightning, sickness, or bad luck. Whether that's true or not, it's worked to protect these birds for generations. People leave the nests untouched, and as a result, they remain safe and preserved across Africa's landscapes. Moving from superstition to skill, the European bee-eater shows another level of natural engineering. These brightly colored birds don't use twigs or leaves at all. Instead, they dig. Using their sharp beaks and strong feet, they burrow tunnels straight into sandy cliffs, riverbanks, or even dirt walls. Each tunnel can stretch as deep as 1 full meter, ending in a round, smooth nesting chamber. It takes a pair around 20 days of non-stop digging to complete just one tunnel. During early summer, entire colonies of bee-eaters gather to build together. Along some cliffs, you can find hundreds or even thousands of these small holes lined up next to one another, forming what looks like a honeycomb carved into the earth. In one long-term study that lasted 30 years, scientists counted more than 1,500 nests on a single cliff, most of them built in soft, sandy soil that's easy to shape but strong enough to hold. Inside each tunnel, the parents lay between 5 and 8 smooth white eggs. Both the male and female take turns keeping the eggs warm and later feeding the chicks. They're loyal partners, working as a perfect team. Even more interesting, sometimes older siblings or relatives return to help raise the new chicks, bringing food, standing guard, and protecting the nest. That kind of family teamwork is rare among birds, making bee-eaters truly special. There was once a rumor that these birds attack beehives to eat honey, but research proved it false. Bee-eaters mostly hunt wild bees, wasps, and even large hornets, including the invasive yellow-legged hornet recorded in 2023. They catch their prey mid-air, skillfully removing the stinger before eating it, nature's little aerial hunters at work. From sandy cliffs, we now glide to calm lakes where another remarkable architect lives, the great crested grebe. This elegant waterbird doesn't dig or hang its nest in trees. Instead, it builds a floating home. Using reeds, aquatic plants, and small twigs, both parents work together to weave a flat, buoyant platform that stays anchored to underwater plants. The nest rises and falls gently with the waves, always balanced but never drifting away. If conditions are right, grebes can finish building their nest in just a few hours. They usually lay 3 to 4 eggs, which start white but soon turn brown from the damp nesting materials. The parents take turns incubating the eggs for about 27 to 29 days, switching every couple of hours in a calm, graceful rhythm, almost like a silent dance. When the chicks hatch, they're covered in fine stripes and are often called humbugs because of their pattern. Although they can swim from birth, they prefer to ride on their parents' backs for the first week. This keeps them safe from predators and close to warmth and comfort. A long-standing myth once claimed that grebes walk their eggs to the shore before hatching, but that's completely false. They never leave the water during nesting season, their entire family life happens afloat. In the 19th century, these beautiful birds nearly vanished. Their ornate head feathers became fashionable decorations for hats and clothing, leading to massive hunting. At one point, there were only 42 nesting pairs left in the entire United Kingdom. Fortunately, conservation efforts by groups like the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, RSPB, saved them. Today, great crested grebes are thriving again, gliding gracefully across lakes and ponds, their floating nests a reminder of both beauty and resilience. And now, we reach the top of the list, the bald eagle, a bird that doesn't just build nests, it builds monuments. If nature ever handed out blueprints for greatness, this powerful raptor would hold the patent. A bald eagle's nest is massive, layered, and enduring, a structure that grows larger and stronger year after year. When an eagle pair first builds their nest, it's already impressive, about 6 feet wide and 4 feet deep. But these birds are loyal. Every year, they return to the same spot, adding new sticks, moss, grass, and even seaweed or kelp if they live near the coast. Over decades, the nest keeps growing, eventually reaching sizes that seem impossible for birds to build. Some nests have been measured at 9 feet wide, 20 feet deep, and weighing nearly 3 tons. That's heavier than a small car. One record-holding nest in Florida, built between the 1950s and 1963, still stands as the largest ever found. Eagles usually build in tall, strong trees between 60 and 200 feet high, always near rivers, lakes, or coastlines rich in fish, their favorite food source. The nest's shape resembles an upside-down wine glass, with sturdy outer walls and a deep, soft interior lined carefully to cradle the eggs. Studies from the upper Mississippi region between 1990 and 2012 confirmed that bald eagles choose their nesting trees based on the strength of the branches and proximity to water. They are extremely loyal, often using the same nest site for 50 years or more, rebuilding and reinforcing it through generations. A famous myth says that Benjamin Franklin once called the bald eagle lazy and cowardly, claiming he preferred the wild turkey as America's symbol. But when you see the eagle's dedication, engineering skill, and loyalty to its home, that old criticism quickly falls apart. Bald eagles are not lazy, they are among the most persistent and powerful builders in nature. So now that you've seen nature's true architects, it's clear that birds are more than just creatures of flight. They are designers, engineers, and caretakers, each species creating homes perfectly suited to its environment. From the bee-eater's sandy tunnels and the grebe's floating rafts to the bald eagle's towering fortresses, every nest tells a story of intelligence, instinct, and survival. What surprises you the most, the trick doors of pendulum tits, the mud towers of flamingos, or the nests that weigh more than a car? Nature still holds countless secrets waiting to be discovered. If these builders could speak, they might remind us that even the smallest creature can create something extraordinary, if it works with patience, precision, and purpose.